longtime listeners will know that our decades-long acquaintanceship started over a stick of fruit strip gum.
Fruit stripes.
Fruit stripe gum. I didn't even remember it right. Man, I feel embarrassed.
Go on.
Now defunct. Fruit stripe is no more.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't get it anymore?
They went out of business a few years ago.
You can't even get it in like, I don't know, cereal form or something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I remember this being basically like 30 seconds of flavor gum, but I really liked it.
If you're lucky.
The
right?
packaging was nice. Yeah. Anyway, our friendship started over fruit stripe gum, and that leads me to wonder, are there any other candies that you like besides fruit stripe? Because it was you that bought it.
That's true. Do you consider the sweet gum, the sugared gum candy?
I think so. Bazooka? You think of bazooka as candy? I do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I never really think about it like that, but I would say that bubble gum in general is really more akin to candy than it's not freshening your breath. You know, it's
kind of gone by the wayside too. I remember like Hubba Bubba used to have 50 flavors of gum. You could get root beer, cotton candy, cream soda, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you could get any kind of flavor you wanted in Hubba Bubba, and now it's just like 5 or 6. People don't really go in for bubble gum so much anymore.
Maybe I should get back into gum.
Yeah, the pink stuff.
The pink stuff.
Bazooka, that's the stuff that was like, oh man, you get the comic book little strip. That was cool. That felt like a treat you didn't get with other candies.
Yeah.
But the gum
Joe.
itself was really tough. I feel like I cracked a tooth on a bazooka once.
Yeah, they really didn't care about the quality of your teeth with that.
No.
I had some favorite. I don't eat much candy anymore, but I had some favorite candies growing up. And it's fun to think about because I know now I would not like them at all. But I think my favorite candy bar as a kid was Three Musketeers.
Oh boy, I didn't like the nougat. You get that?
It's just nougat.
Oh, I didn't like it.
Else.
You get that in Milky Way too? No, not for me. I can't do it.
I couldn't do it anymore. It's really gross. But as a kid, I loved Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
I also, in the non-candy bar, in the non-chocolate realm, I loved Fun Dip. You remember Fun Dip?
Yes, you had a candy.
That was so gross.
You had a little white candy stick, and you would stick it into like basically just powdered sugar.
Mouth, yeah.
Spit was a huge part of eating Fun Dip. Really gross.
Yeah. What about you?
My favorite candy is and always has been Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
It's a classic. Now that I can still eat.
Yeah, I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Candy in general, though, I find the satisfaction I get from it is a little too fleeting. I never, if I buy 2 peanut butter cups, it's like, I really wish I had a couple more. And by that point, you're like, is this really worth it?
I ate way too much candy.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't usually go in for candy in general. But if I do treat myself, it's usually to a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
I like sweets, but at this point in my life, I would much prefer baked goods, or I'm a sucker for ice cream. I love ice cream.
Yeah,
but
for me, it's booze.
Well, and I would say that candy in its classical form is a drug.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
it hits you real fast. It wears off real quick, and it leaves you feeling hollow.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember these candies that came out around year 2000? These Y2K candies. Did you have these?
No.
They were basically like the Pez dispenser candy, but just in a bag instead, and it would turn your mouth black. But the candy was shaped like these little microchips. Because do you remember the Y2K incident?
Oh, yeah. I remember it. I just don't remember the candy that
they made a candy for it in 1999. Came out with Will Smith's Millennium.
And you liked this?
Nothing happened with Y2K. We didn't even need to store all that stuff.
Holy cow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, all denizens of the airwaves. Wow. We're back. One more time, and once again, we are back. Long Road Home Alone.
Season 4. Episode 2.
Episode due.
I feel like I'm on cloud 9. Nothing could go wrong here.
Season 4, Episode 2, Cloud 9. I'm Joey Z.
We're going to make it after all.
You're Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm here. Jimmy Dantes.
And how happy are you to be here, Jimmy?
I'm very happy to be here.
I knew it.
Yeah. Why did you even ask?
I knew it.
Why do you always have to ask that?
I just need that confirmation bias.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, good to be back. Good to be back in the studio. Good to be back in these chairs. This chair doesn't have a hole in the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
We got some money behind this thing. The sun is blue. The sky is shining.
The snow has melted
gold.
Almost.
Completely.
Spring is on the way.
Children are back in their seats in school, learning
where they should be. And Jerry Novak is still on the run.
Yes. Life is good.
All right.
Life is good. What are we talking about?
We are going to talk about Gus Polinski.
We are going to talk about Gus Polinski.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Or
It's a good place to start.
Maybe the man behind Gus Polinski, John Candy.
Jonathan Candy.
Didn't get enough time with the guy. John Candy left quite a mark on the world. I feel like he's a big topic.
Big time. Where do you even start?
Let's start at where he began. He's a Canadian, born in Toronto.
That's right.
And,
That's right. City boy, city slicker.
He was born in 1950 on Halloween.
Wow. My grandmother, one of my grandmothers was born on Halloween.
Yeah, grew up working class family. His dad passed away when he was really young.
That's right.
And then he had an older brother, and his mom took care of the two of them after his dad passed away. So working class roots, like really scraping by as he was a younger man. As he got up into high school, really started getting into drama. He was...
Well, no. I want to roll that back a little bit because my understanding is that his initial ambitions lay more on the football field.
They do, but he did all three because not only was he in drama, he was a football star.
Right.
And he was in band. He played clarinet. Can you believe it?
That's really something.
Yeah.
Now, he had a knee injury in high school. I think it ended his football career.
He was a high school football star. He thought he was going to go on to play pro, and he sustained a knee injury pretty early on, and that derailed everything for him.
My understanding has always been that sort of inadvertently pushed him towards more theater as like a creative outlet, but that may just be the narrative in my head. Maybe he was a triple threat.
Yeah, well, he did say he had wanted to be an actor for a long time. Like it was a pretty early realization that he said he wanted to be an actor. The idea of being up on stage and entertaining people, that was something he always wanted to do. And I think he always also just enjoyed being the funny guy in high school. Yeah. And like when you can do that on stage, it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
And so he went to college, went for journalism, but did drama there as well. And then after he graduated from there, he did a bunch of odd jobs and then had a minor acting career in a few films and TV, I think, but not any huge roles. Feels like his biggest breakthrough was when he auditioned for Second City, Toronto.
Right.
Yeah.
So Second City is originally Chicago, right? This sort of like an improv and sketch comedy troupe.
Yeah.
And they have had enough success in Chicago. They're a well enough known name, a known entity. They have now expanded in the 70s into Toronto.
Yeah. Yep.
So they've opened up a second city.
They have.
And we're not going to call this third city. I'm going to call this like second lunch on a film shoot, right? You don't have lunch and then dinner. You have second lunch. And you don't have fourth meal, right? If it's a really long shoot, you have second lunch.
I don't think so.
Second director.
It's been a while since I've been on a film set.
Second AD.
Second lunch. I don't think we ever got second lunch. I don't remember.
Oh, you got second lunch.
Oh, I think they just like gave us stale bagels or something. That was our second lunch.
Well, non-union.
Yeah.
Join a union. Union strong.
Yeah. Do you know how John Candy came to be on Second City, Toronto?
How he came to be?
How he came to be a part of Second City, Toronto?
Well, I don't know that I know the story.
In 1973, they opened up the second location, and a good friend of his, Dan Aykroyd, who was also in the acting scene in Toronto, said, hey, let's go do an audition at Second City. We can get in there. And John Candy
John Candy and Dan Aykroyd were already friends before Second City?
From just the acting community in Toronto. Same with Gilda Radner and a few. I think Eugene Levy was also there.
Eugene Levy, yep.
Yeah. And John Candy didn't want to do it. He was too nervous. And so Dan Aykroyd said, all right, well, just give me a ride there. And Dan Aykroyd went and signed them both up and said, all right, you got to come in too. And he got the part. And he was auditioning for a part in the Toronto troupe, but they liked him so much that they sent him to Chicago instead. And he went to Chicago for a year and worked with Bill Murray in that year. Wow. And then afterward, he returned to Toronto and then was a part of the Second City Toronto troupe proper. And that's where, he meets Eugene Levy, Rick Moranis, Catherine O'Hara, Joe Flaherty, Dave Thomas. I think Harold Ramis was also a part of that team. Yeah. And this was the group, the core group that went on to become a part of SCTV.
Right. Second City Television.
Second City Television, which is basically Canada's SNL.
Right.
And it was great. I've gone back and watched a few episodes of it, and the comedy still lives up. It's pretty funny, but people really love John Candy in particular.
And SCTV really is worth a rewatch, I would say. And a lot of the stuff, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but you can kind of watch it all on YouTube, I think. Yeah. And I think in some ways you are correct. I mean, it's comparatively for Canada and Canadian television at that time, you could kind of compare it to the cultural impact of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is really its own sort of thing, right? Don't think SNL when you think SCTV.
It's not in front of a live audience, which is a distinct difference. Right. It's a theater troupe kind of trying to improvise comedy. I mean, it's sort of loosely planned.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing as SNL. That's a different kind.
And it's also not the same style of like what I would call topical humor, or, a lot of times SNL I think has a tendency to like lean into like the cultural thing of the moment.
Yeah.
Right. At least in a lot of their cold opens and things like that. Whereas SCTV is really more of this like bizarre self-contained world. It feels like fictional television, right? And you have like these recurring characters.
The Schmengi brothers, which he did with Eugene Levy. The two of them wrote those characters, and they went on to make a movie about the Schmengi brothers.
Right.
Called The Last Polka.
Yes. What?
Johnny LaRue was another of John Candy's like famous characters. People really love Johnny LaRue. I think the episode I saw, he was a politician. He was running for office.
Right.
And he's clearly just drinking and like asking
kids
if
real
they have
sleaze.
a cigarette. Yeah. He's a used car salesman running for office, and John Candy plays the part to perfection.
Yes. Yeah, so this is really John Candy's sort of meteoric rise to fame.
It springboards him into stardom. Everybody knows who John Candy is after SCTV, and the show didn't have a long-running, it wasn't a long-running series. Eventually it was canceled, but everybody noticed John Candy, and then after that he starts showing up in films like Stripes and Spaceballs and Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
If you have to get to Chicago, we'll gladly drive you. It's on the way to Milwaukee.
You'd give me a ride?
Sure we will. Why not? You got to get home and see your kid.
A ride to Chicago?
Sure, it's Christmas time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You don't mind going with some polka bums?
No, I'd love to.
So then there's a lot of different angles that we could approach this from, right? I mean, John Candy had, in his relatively short time on this earth, he had a prolific career. But I think naturally, from our perspective, it makes a lot of sense to talk about how John Candy and John Hughes are some of our two favorite Jonathans here, as well as Jonathan Carpenter.
Yes,
of course. But, he's not a part of this conversation.
And Jonathan Wick.
And Jonathan Wick, of course, right? Yeah. And Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, yeah. Honestly. Him, too.
Yeah, John Frakes, as I like to call him.
Good old Beardy.
John Frakes.
Number 2.
Number 2. Number 2.
Oh, wait, no, he's number 1.
He's been demoted. Number 2.
I'm so sorry.
I'm number 1. The captain's number 1 here.
John Candy.
John Hughes.
So these guys...
Well, I feel like this is a really significant, what I feel like is like a director muse relationship in cinema history.
John Hughes had this with a few actors over the course of his career.
He did.
And the other two being Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall, who were both in Breakfast Club. Molly Ringwald was in 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink.
Yep.
And Anthony Michael Hall, I think he was in Vacation and one other film, maybe. But John Hughes really had a special connection with certain actors. The way I had heard it told is that with Molly Ringwald, he kind of saw himself, somebody who felt like an outcast, who was just like on the outs of society and just wasn't like, or on the outs of high school and just wasn't fitting in for some reason. And that's something John Hughes could relate to. And he was sort of inspired to write these roles for these specific actors.
Yeah.
The third actor in particular, and this was like the third and strongest actor in terms of their collaborations, was John Candy.
Yeah.
He worked on 8 total projects with John Hughes. And that is National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983.
I know of 7, so I can't wait to hear the 8th.
Yeah, you'll be surprised by the 8th. National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 1987. The Great Outdoors, 1988. She's Having a Baby. He has a small cameo in that, but it was filmed while he was shooting Great Outdoors.
Right. It's that same character from Great Outdoors.
Still the same character.
End credit sequence or something, right?
Yeah, and you get a bunch of other characters from John Hughes films because Ferris Bueller's in there as well.
Right.
Uncle Buck, 1989. Home Alone, 1990. Career Opportunities, 1991. And Only the Lonely, produced by John Hughes, written and directed by Chris Columbus.
Yes.
So
yes.
8 projects total.
Of course. I feel like Hughes popularly often credited with defining the 1980s teen experience, right? Now, we all know he's done, and you just named a bunch of them, right? Yep. But as far as Hughes's reputation goes, especially as a filmmaker, we think about that like the teen movies of the 80s. But I feel like his work with John Candy really gave him the opportunity to explore more of the complexities of like adulthood and loneliness and like almost like the American middle class. And John Candy really helps him bring this level of soul, I don't know, or that he's not really able to achieve in the teen dramas or the teen comedies, where that really is about a very real emotional experience. But John Candy brings this sort of like everyman that opens up these doors for John Hughes to tell these more adult stories. Yeah, this comes at a turning point in his career, too. He had kind of decided, I think Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall in particular had said, I kind of want to get away from these roles a little bit. Yeah. And John Hughes is also like, okay, maybe I'm ready to pivot into a new chapter of my career. And John Candy is who inspired, and you see it too, like, when he starts working with John Candy in 1987, the other 7 films follow immediately after that. Right. He had like a little bit of a gap between Vacation and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when he did his teen movies, but he just stuck with John Candy, and they were such good friends. It was one of the few actors that John Hughes would let improvise, I believe. Oh yeah, I think Hughes would like write very thin scenes, knowing that John Candy would like bring John Candy to them. Well, Gus Polinski being like one of the biggest ones. You know, there was very little written for John Candy, but John Candy just infused this, polka sort of culture, which he got from, Schmengi Brothers, basically. And he got that from his own cultural heritage. I mean, he's half Polish or something. He is. He's half Polish / Ukrainian, and he played the clarinet in high school. Right. And so he really is just creating this character based on tools he's got from his background, and John Hughes just trusts him. I know John Candy's going to come through on this. Just let him do what he does. And he did it in 23 hours. Right. This to me, and to bring it back to Home Alone, of course, as always, this feels that the Gus Polinski favor, it feels like the ultimate testament to their friendship. Because as you have mentioned before, John Candy did this at scale. He did, right? $400. $400, $400 and change for 23 hours, just like a straight session. He flew in, he filmed all of his scenes, and like you said, Hughes trusted Candy so much that he just let him improvise all of it. I know in particular, the whole thing about like leaving the kid at the funeral parlor with the corpse and all that was just off the dome.
That specifically was John Candy's contribution. He just tells this story, and you see Catherine O'Hara, who's hearing it for the first time and just having to react to it while not laughing.
And only Catherine O'Hara could do it because she's worked, because she knows him so well.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like, they spent like 4 or 5 years together working at Second City. Well, just working at Second City and SCTV. I mean, these are really good friends who know how to play off of each other comedically.
And she knows how to keep a straight face while he is delivering some of the most ridiculous, hilarious lines in this movie.
Started talking again after 6 or 7 weeks.
You know, kids are resilient like that.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about this anymore. What is your favorite John Hughes role? If it is Gus Polinski, what's your second?
It's got to be Uncle Buck.
It's Uncle Buck for me, too.
It's got to be Uncle Buck.
Gus Polinski is my favorite. That's my favorite John Hughes, John Candy collaboration. Uncle Buck is a close second.
I think Uncle Buck is my favorite.
Yeah. There's a lot of heart. I just rewatched it a couple nights ago, and he's so good with Macaulay Culkin and Gabby Hoffman, those two little kids in particular. He knows how to play off kids really well in that movie. And I think he kind of disarms people, you know? It's just this, like, you feel comfortable around this big jolly guy, and kids feel comfortable just, like, you know, playing off of him.
What I love about his character in that movie is that of course, we are meant to understand that he's sort of this unreliable guy, right? It's the last person that the parents want to leave the kids with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we see him bring like this heart and this care, like this level of emotional care, and also just like an understanding of children. I love the part where he's like, I got that friend down at the crime lab who will test your toothbrushes and he'll know if you actually brushed your teeth or not. And just like that ability to communicate, like to understand how kids think is like, it's very subtle in the movie, I think, for the younger kids, but it really rounds out this theme of the story where it's like, we didn't trust this guy to take care of our kids, but in the end, they provided them more care and attention than maybe the very busy parents had been able to do.
It seems like his parents are big on creating a structure for their children, but not reaching to the heart of them, you know? And I think John Candy and Uncle Buck is better at that kind of thing. I also love going back to him talking to kids and interacting with kids. He doesn't talk to them like they're kids. He talks to them like they're people. You know, like he doesn't talk down to them. He talks at their level, like they're just regular people. The one scene I love in particular is when he goes to the principal. He does one of my favorite John Candy lines. Here's a quarter. Take this quarter, go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face.
Yeah.
I love that line. There's a little kid.
He's so proud of himself leaving
does the like, you know, punch in the air or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that scene though, but outside the office, there's this little kid who's in trouble. He's like, you know, maybe I should go in there first. I'll soften her up, you know. And the kid's hearing all this while he's out there. He seems so downtrodden, but the way he talks to the kid, it isn't like him talking down to a toddler. It's him talking to another individual and trying to console them during a hard time. And it feels so genuine.
Yeah. And I think that it feels so genuine because it is.
Yeah.
And I think that is really another big part of John Candy, is like how genuine and authentic this guy really was.
So John Candy, what is it about him that you think is just so electric? For whatever reason, people really love this guy. He's been gone for almost 30 years now. And there are a lot of actors who have come and gone, you know, in that time, and people still remember him for some reason. And I feel like the love is still very much there for him. You go back, you watch a John Candy film, and you're just like, there's something about that guy I really like.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's got a real legacy of kindness. John Candy showed that you could be a comedic titan and without being a troubled genius.
Yeah.
And he had his own challenges. He had his own troubles, but those did not seem to bleed into his personal life.
No, I get the sense that most of the troubles that he felt were largely like he had a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-worth issues. His weight really did bother him. He didn't like how overweight he was, but he kept it to himself, and he was always trying to make other people feel better. Well, that's how people described it too, is that he would always take care of other people before he would take care of himself.
Yeah.
There are so many great stories about John Candy just as a wonderful individual, just a very kind, thoughtful individual. Like I said before, he came from working class roots. He had a single mom who was taking care of 2 kids after her husband had died.
Right.
And he basically just worked odd jobs. Even when he was working theater, he was working with the crew before he got up on stage. And so he had a good understanding and kind of a lifelong respect for the crew of film and theater in general.
Yeah.
And some of the best stories you hear about John Candy are on sets, seeing that the crew is being mistreated and then trying to rectify it himself with his own money. You know, if the crew is like, there was one movie where they were eating out of vending machines and there wasn't enough heat, and he got them a heated, food truck so they could get hot meals, and then bought them heaters and blankets. There's a story about him on the set of Splash where there was a downpour during a beach scene, and while all of the cast and crew ran for cover during this scene, the lighting crew is trying to cover all of thousands of dollars worth of equipment with plastic so that it doesn't get ruined by the rain. And John Candy, rather than running for cover, went to help the crew. Yeah, you just hear stories. Same with Home Alone. Like he was offered points on Home Alone. He didn't have to take scale. That was his suggestion. John Hughes said, you can get a percentage of this movie. And John Candy said, nope. 400 is all you're going to pay me. I'll work 23 hours. I'm happy to do it. Yeah. And that's just kind of like at his soul. He's this guy who feels very genuine. And I think that comes through in his performances. The way that he treats every individual in his actual life is how he kind of treats other actors or other characters in his movies.
Absolutely. I mean, I think to go back to the John Hughes partnership, I think about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, right? And I can't think of any other actor who can play that character, because that character is really decidedly obnoxious. Yeah. I mean, you sympathize with Steve Martin.
You feel for him.
You don't want to be stuck with this guy. Yeah. But you can really empathize with this character. Because even though he is obnoxious, you go, this is a real person. This is a real person who's fragile.
You get to the end of the movie and you really feel for him. And I love the payoff at the end where it's like, this guy doesn't have a family anymore. And you know what? You're going to be a part of my family for at least this holiday season.
Right.
And he's this guy who spends the entire movie annoying him. He's inconsiderate, but it's not in ways that seem, I think, obvious to him. I don't think... I think
oblivious.
It doesn't occur to him how inconsiderate he's being. And because of that, you still sort of feel for him a little bit.
Right.
And on top of that, he's being played by John Candy. And again, I think people see that guy on screen and there's something genuine about him. There's something that connects you. You don't even have to hear these stories about all the great things he does for the crews on his film sets. You feel that that's the kind of guy he is when he's on screen anytime you see him.
Yeah. I think Steve Martin has said that he was really blown away by Candy's ability to find that soul in that character. Because on paper, you read the script and this guy's just an obnoxious dude. But there's some sort of alchemy that John Candy has here. There's a magic that you can't really put your finger on, but you just know he's the only one who can bring it.
One of the things, too, I loved about John Candy is you never get the sense this dude was a superstar in the 80s. People loved John Candy. They loved seeing him in movies, and he never let it go to his head. The guy was just a devoted family man. Anytime he was on set, he was trying to find ways to do good things for the crew. One of my favorite stories is actually from Only the Lonely. Basically, the producers said the budget only allots for one luxury trailer, and John Candy saw that Maureen O'Hara, this dame of classic Hollywood, is in some trashy small mini trailer while he's in a luxury thing. So he went up to the producers and basically told them, you need to get her a trailer or I'm going to give her mine. And then they're like, well, we don't have enough money to give old actresses their own luxury trailers. John Candy's like, all right, well, she gets mine. And he gave her his trailer for 3 days. And then the producers caved because it was too embarrassing to have John Candy, the lead of their film, in some crappy trailer that they had intended for somebody they didn't care about.
Right.
I don't know, just class act. The guy, like, he doesn't pull this kind of stuff you see with some other actors who are like, I'm going to be the last person on film set when we're ready to film. The show waits for me. Like, that's not John Candy. He's the guy that goes the opposite direction, is like, how can I help? You know, he's always conversing with the crew, asking them about their lives, their days. Even on like sets that were cold, he would like buy them blankets and coats. Like, I don't know, just a really genuine class act.
Man, this guy was really working on some shoestring budget movies, huh?
I know.
Where they're like, we can't afford to clothe the crew. They'll be out here in their underwear.
No, you hear stories too about him like giving up his trailer for a wardrobe. It's like they didn't have a space for a wardrobe. Like, where are you at?
Right. You really see like the dark side of Hollywood when you hear the stories of of all the shows John Candy was on.
Yeah.
Well, he was super, and even outside of set, right? Like, he was known to be approachable basically to a fault. You know, if you ran into him on the street, he was famous for not only like never turning down a fan, but like he wouldn't just politely sign an autograph. But I mean, there are countless stories about him just having like 20-minute conversations with people and talking to them about their jobs and their families and just like treating strangers like friends.
Yeah. And I think it really does come down to this. Like, I think once he got the power that comes with fame, he figured out, how can I make every person I come in contact with feel special about it, you know? Like, how can I make them
How can I share all of this wealth?
Yeah, and like, I don't want to say that it's so uncommon, but it really does feel like a rarity that somebody like doesn't let the ego go to their head, you know? They're like, I've achieved this echelon of fame and success, and now the rest of society is beneath me, and like, they're just here to serve me. John Candy was never like that. He never became that. He would like cook for his assistants.
Right.
You know?
This is, when you put it that way, it makes me feel like he was almost like he was a philanthropist. He was almost like a social philanthropist, because what comes with that level of success? It's not just the money, it's the fame. And we think about fame as this very complicated thing, and famous people almost as royalty, as this echelon above the regular person. And he used that capital that he had. He used that fame capital philanthropically, right? To be like, oh, now I have all of this social capital. Let me spread the good feelings that this provides as best as I can.
It also felt like he was the guy who was just always looking out for the little guy, you know? Like, he was somebody who could bully producers into like, listen, you're not treating these people right, and I have the power to change something about it, you know? Something about his laugh. He has a very specific laugh, and it's almost infectious. You can't help but laugh or feel good when you hear it. It's sort of awkward, too. This sort of like, you just feel disarmed when you hear John Candy's laugh.
I think that ultimately his reputation feels unique because it's so uncomplicated. And, you know, now we have decades of retrospective interviews and people reflecting on his history and his legacy and his life. And there's just, you never hear a single dark side story or a grudge or anything like that from a colleague. I think it's just like this rare example where his public persona was really identical to his private reality. And that's a special guy.
Just a real genuine man.
You know, the wife and I, we left the little tyke there in the funeral parlor all day. You know, we went back at night when we came to our senses, and there he was. Apparently he was there alone all day with a corpse. Now, he was okay, you know, after 6-7 weeks. And I came around, started talking again.
So going back to John Candy's partnership with John Hughes, there was a 9th film in the works.
Wow. See, I missed one. When you said there were 8, I thought there was going to be a big surprise, and I had just miscounted because I knew I had 7, and then you said all 8, and I knew all of those. So now you're telling me there's a 9th, and I just, my head's spinning already. I don't even know what you're about to say.
Yeah. So this movie was called Bartholomew and Neff. This was written by John Hughes. The plan was for it to be directed by John Hughes. It was going to be shot in the summer of 1990 or 1991, one of the two. And this is going to star John Candy and Sylvester Stallone in the leads. Stallone was going to play a retired baseball player, and John Candy was going to be his neighbor who was like either a banker or a lawyer, and they had a feud. And it was going to be this like Home Alone slapstick style feud where they're like
raising the
pulling
stakes,
pranks on each other. And I mean, I guess they're probably going to come together in the end to decide that they're friends or whatever. But this was during that era where Stallone was kind of, they had said that the muscly era, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, that era of movie stars kind of at its end. And Stallone was trying to branch out into comedy in the same way that Arnold was. And
or Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure Stallone is looking at Bruce Willis going, oh, well, he's starting to get into comedy here. I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah. And then I think he ended up doing Oscar.
He did Oscar.
Which was a John Landis film that did not do very well. Don't think Stallone's quite cut out for humor.
Well, I've never seen Oscar. I only know the cover where he's like hanging from a clock in a suit or something like that.
I've never seen it either. I just know it's horribly maligned.
Yeah, it doesn't have a great reputation.
Yeah, and it's sort of just Stallone's only foray into comedy. But he
did Throw Mama from the Train.
He was in Throw Mama from the Train?
Isn't that Stallone?
I don't know. I never saw it. I thought that was Danny DeVito.
Well, yeah, Danny DeVito's in it, but isn't Stallone in it as well?
Maybe. Who can say?
I saw that, but it's really bad.
Bartholomew and Neff ended up not happening, though, because...
No, it's Billy Crystal. What the? Why am I thinking?
Stallone. You thought you confused Billy Crystal with Sylvester Stallone?
You know what? I'm confusing two movies that I don't know well. I'm thinking of Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yes, that was the film that Arnold tried to trick Stallone into taking.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
I don't want to derail this, but what do you mean?
Okay, so basically Stop or My Mom Will Shoot was a script that Arnold, when he found out Stallone was trying to do comedies, he pretended to have an interest in this script.
I see.
Courting Stallone to the project, and then he wanted to let Stallone take it. I don't remember if it was actually made or
No, it was
not.
made. I mean, that's a movie, yeah.
That was a prank Arnold pulled on Stallone, and he fell for it.
Wow, that's really good.
Bartholomew versus Neff ended up not happening, though, because Curly Sue just did terribly, and John Hughes took criticism to heart, and he just decided, I'm done with directing. I don't want to do this anymore. And he decided to focus more on screenwriting and his family. And so we never got to see a John Candy, Sylvester Stallone mashup, but that sounds like it could have been a thing to see.
It really could have been.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can't believe that John Hughes wanted to make a movie with Sylvester Stallone.
I can't believe it either.
Well, okay, so outside of that, so that was an unrealized project, but outside of that, John Candy's final years, I mean, he did a handful of things.
Rescuers Down Under, that's probably right. I love Rescuers Down Unders. Cool Runnings is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that one.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's there.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so
yeah.
I remember thinking he I don't know, had some dramatic chops in it. It was the first time he'd done kind of a serious, darker role. He's this alcoholic coach who's just bitter about his career. You don't really see John Candy play that kind of role in a film before, and it was, I don't know, it's nice to see it.
It's sort of, he's playing sort of like a character redemption arc.
Yes.
There.
Yeah. And he's got one scene where, I don't know, he really gives it his all, and it's pretty solid. I liked it.
Now, he does have this full circle moment in the early 90s where he becomes a co-owner of the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah.
I think that's like from
the Canadian Football League. I didn't even know Canada had a football league.
Oh, yeah. They're into it.
Yeah.
And I think he was a minor owner. I think Wayne Gretzky was a major owner.
He owned 10% of it. Wayne Gretzky owned a portion of it, and there was another businessman who owned it. And during the period while they owned it, the Toronto Argonauts went to the Grey Cup and won. And that's basically winning the Super Bowl for Canada. Yeah, quite a thing. Sounds like it wasn't a great financial investment. It doesn't sound like they made much money off of it, but John Candy...
It seemed like it was just something he really wanted to do. He goes, I'm a multimillionaire now. I've always loved football. I want to continue to live my dream that was dashed when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And was just a lifelong football fan. But I think that he also was huge in, like, he followed the team on the road, and he would appear on local radio and television. He would also promote the games.
He would also go out on the field and sign autographs for people along the baselines. And then
there aren't all that many baselines in football, but yeah.
Wait, what did I say?
Yeah, you said baselines.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking baseball.
Yeah.
Not football.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Two different sports. All right.
Totally.
I didn't play either. I did play kickball once.
That's more like baseball.
Yeah.
Nice. You run the bases. Yeah.
Anyway, he owned the Toronto...
There's more kicking, I would say, in kickball than there is in football or baseball, really.
There really is. Why do they call it football, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, you use your feet to play it.
It should be tackle ball, I think.
Tackle ball would be a great name for it.
Murder ball or something.
Well, there was roller ball.
Roller ball is basically murder ball.
I don't think John Candy was in roller ball.
And I don't think he would have approved of murder ball. So
no, probably
he owned
not.
the Toronto Argonauts as a result.
Yeah, minor ownership.
Yeah, that was so that lasted for about 3 years, and eventually it wasn't making enough money for the business partner that they went on with, and they ended up selling the team, much to his disappointment. He really wanted to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then he also was part of a Saturday morning cartoon called Camp Candy. Have you ever seen this?
I've never seen this. Now, you were telling me a little bit about this, but this actually is outside of my realm of knowledge.
I actually did see this as a kid. I think I saw reruns of it, but I had totally forgotten about it until researching it for the show. But he had 3 seasons of it where he was a camp counselor in an animated series. He ran a camp, and there was a guy called Rex DeForest III, who was trying to basically bulldoze the camp in every episode. He was like a Captain Planet villain who was trying to destroy John Candy's camp. And some of the episodes would even start with like a live version of John Candy teaching basically like a science lesson, to kids about nature. He was heavily involved with it. I think he was a producer on this show, and he really wanted it to be an educational program. And there really was some appeal to John Candy to kids. They really were drawn to this guy. And so, yeah, he did 3 seasons of that. The Schmengi brothers show up in Camp Candy, along with a few other SCTV characters. I think Johnny LaRue might make an appearance, but he really called back to his SCTV era. And then both of his kids are in it, too. They play regular characters in it. So it's like a way to get his family involved in a project
and
that he was a part of.
And it's an animated series, so it's easy to just get people in the booth.
Yeah.
No costumes, no wardrobe, but just get in front of the microphone.
And what a weird era, too. You get shows like Louie's Life and Bobby's World and Rosie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, one thing I do want to mention before we close out is Wagons East.
Yeah.
So that, of course, was his last film. And I think, unfortunately, he passed away while they were filming Wagons East. He had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. I think he died in his sleep. And just to harken back to what you were saying before, apparently, I mean, at least legend has it that that evening, his last evening, he was cooking dinner for his staff.
He was cooking spaghetti for his assistants.
On that movie.
Yep. And then he called 2 of his co-hosts and said, "That was a great day on set. Thank you guys so much for your hard work."
Yes.
He called Robert Picardo, who's in Voyager, and he called the other guy, I forget his name, but the co-host or co-star. Yeah.
That's it's an interesting movie, not because it's interesting, because it's not, but because he kind of plays the straight man in that movie. It's full of comedic beats, and he really has very few laughs in it.
No, probably not the way to use John Candy.
It's really not. It's a strange one. I won't belabor it, but that was the last one he was in, and I think we have established, if you didn't know it already, John Candy was a pretty sincere guy.
Pretty good guy. I like him.
Pretty good guy. Glad we had him.
All right. It's been a wonderful episode. Spent this whole
completely
time
agree.
talking about John Candy, who I consider to be an absolutely wonderful human being.
Yeah, seems like it.
Somebody you can really admire, look up to, and say, I kind of want to be like that guy.
Big time. Yeah. Good use of our time. I would say.
Yeah. Unfortunately, now we have to talk about somebody who is not such a wonderful human being. In fact, I dare say he's probably a terrible human being.
Wow.
His name is Dan Glebensky.
Oh, boy.
We just learned from Mr. Producer that apparently, while we thought the sun was shining and was going to shine forever, it appears not to be so. Dan Glebensky and his corporation, Glebensky Consolidated, what is it?
Enterprises?
Glebensky Consolidated Enterprises is trying to do a hostile takeover of the Sheboygan Chamber of Commerce.
Yikes. All right. Okay. Yeah. Fine. All right. Fine. Well, we have heard some things. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It might not be true, but if it is, it's going to mean hell on earth for us. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't know that that's true. We've heard some things here. We know that we're in a reconstruction phase here in Sheboygan. I think it's going to be fine. Dan Glebensky, it sounds like he's getting a little more involved.
Right-hand man of Jerry Novak, fugitive from the law, the bane of our existence, nemesis of the show.
Listen.
This is his right-hand man, and he's talking about buying our superiors.
We don't know anything. We don't know anything about Dan.
Our parent Chamber of Commerce.
No. It's fine. I think it'll be okay. Dan Glebensky, I've met him a couple of times. He's a very gregarious guy. He's a nice guy.
He's not as bad as Jerry.
No. And I think, it's politics. We know that Jerry, awful human being. He tried to kill us after all. But Dan,
he tried to get death row to kill us.
There's been some conversations, but I really think that Dan, he's very involved in business here in the community. He's actually had a lot to do with the Reconstruction era here. Oh. So I think that he really has separated himself from the old guard. And yes, we have heard some rumblings about him. Sounds like maybe there's some sort of takeover of the Chamber of Commerce.
We're under contract now. If he takes that over, he's taking over us.
Well, we have a contract. Bill Sikorsky.
For 2 years.
Bill Sikorsky has done a lot for us. We've got a nice contract. I think it's fine. Dan Glebensky coming in, Chamber of Commerce, shaking things up a little bit. I think it'll be okay.
People of Sheboygan, do not let this happen.
This is one man's opinion.
Call whatever numbers you need to. Do not let Dan Glebensky take over the Sheboygan Chamber of Commerce. It will be the death of us two hosts for the second time almost.
Folks, thanks for joining us again. Great to be back on the airwaves. And Jimmy has been through a lot. So
that's true.
Just understand that. But we're going to be okay, guys. We have complete creative autonomy on this show. We have been given carte blanche, quite frankly. And here we are. We're back. The stability has returned. Everything's fine. Nothing's We're going to be okay.
This is a time bomb. The show's over.
Thanks again for listening to Long Road Home Alone.
I'm not happy about this. Goodbye.
Broadcast live from our studio in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, The Long Road Home Alone is hosted by Jimmy Dantes and Joey Z, and produced by Pat Muldoon. Be sure to tune in next time, don't forget your reading glasses, and keep the change, you filthy animals.